Hey everyone, welcome to Backstage Pass. This is the CPCA Advising Podcast right here at Temple. That is right, we are here for another episode. Super exciting times. I know I'm super excited. I always am super excited. I make that known every episode at this point. But yeah, it's going to be a great episode. Today we have our FMA advisor. He's originally from San Diego, California, which is so cool. And he attended University of Delaware. Out of all the schools, that blows my mind. University of Delaware. I love that. And he earned his degree in English and journalism. He has been with us at Temple for the last 2 years and is an avid YouTube connoisseur, which we will definitely get to. And we are so happy to have you here. Dariq Cobb, how are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you. Thank you both for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And as always, I would like to introduce my co-host, Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, chugging along, keeping going.
That's right. Good stuff. Well, Dariq, we are super glad to have you on today. You're actually one of the advisors that I don't know too much about, so I'm really excited to have this interview because I would love to get to know you a little more. And I think it's all because of, you're more FMA, I'm more Boyer, and, kind of button heads right there between film and music, but, we like to break that barrier sometimes, so I'm really excited to have you on. I'm really excited to get to know a little more about you.
Thank you. I'm an open book, so
all right. That's what I love. All right, so first things first, you've been with the CPCA advising for a couple of years now. Do you have a favorite event that you like to attend annually, or was there one event that's happened at Temple so far that you loved and cherished, and it was like a one-time thing?
Yeah, it's a few things. So CPA specific, I love the Rite of Swing. I think that's a really cool production. Temple overall in general, I love the Welcome Week. I don't know what that's called, but the gathering that they have like around the student center, and they like block off the street. I guess that's still Welcome Week, but yeah. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's always a lot of fun. What's funny about Welcome Week, when I was a freshman, I believe, because I know that the CPCA, has a lot of different tensor tables set up during Welcome Week, especially to advise a lot of, students of different things that are going on within Boyer or FMA. And I remember because I'm a music technology major, and I remember when I first got to Temple, I actually went to the FMA tables first because I thought that's where I was supposed to go. And I didn't know that I was in Boyer quite yet, even though I had a bunch of emails telling me, you're a Boyer student. I went straight to FMA and I was like, hey, I'm music technology. And they were like, you're at the wrong table. And I was like, all right.
Easy mistake to make.
It isn't easy. We're both in the same neighborhood, so it makes sense. And we're both very alike, Boyer and FMA, so which is what I love about it. And I love a lot of the film students. I love a lot of the film faculty. Like, FMA is a great program, and, everyone's great there. Sarah, you would have more experience than I would, I feel like. But, you're theater, so actually, I don't know.
I'm the T of the TFMA, so. I mean, it is cool because, like, we have the one building where, like, the one half is Annenberg and then the other half has our, like, theaters and everything. So there is a bit of a crossover physically, but then we also have this cool thing called the Bridge, where actors and filmmakers can get together, like Temple people can get together, and like film people can be like, hey, I need some actors for this. Actors can be like, hey, here's my headshot and resume. And so I've done a couple cool things from that, and I've done some film things, and it's really nice to have that at Temple. That's what kind of brought me here, was the easy access to both film and theater.
And even as an advisor, I know I stress that a lot. Like, we have film students who say, hey, I'm doing a project and I need actors or dancers or whatever. And I'm like, it's all under CPCA. Just like use the Bridge, utilize your resources, like use your networks. You see these people all the time. So yeah, I definitely love the symbiotic relationship between like theater and even Boyer too. Like, we do have some sound editing students who do work on films and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's I think that's one of the most interesting parts about our unit is like everybody, works in tandem with each other.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it's a great
Totally.
resume builder for a lot
Yeah.
of students that are looking to build a resume for, whenever they are looking for internships or jobs. Like, I think
Absolutely.
it's a great resume builder to be like, oh, like, I was an actor, a part of this short film made by a student, or for a student to be like, oh, I made a short film, or like, this is my creation, or anything like that. Yeah, I love that about CPCA. I think there's a lot of students that like to work together and definitely have some sort of flow with how they work, and there's a lot of actors that want to step up. And I know for being a music tech student, there's a lot of people or a lot of students in that department that want to either do sound design for these short films, or maybe do like a score for them or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to have a bunch of people working towards the same goal from different fields,
Okay.
So that's super cool. And I love that a lot. So, but speaking specifically about FMA, the F stands for film. So one thing that I know is that there are a lot of students in the FMA program that like to make their own like little student films. Are there any that you have seen? And if so, has there been a memorable one?
I saw one last year from Diamond Screen that was really good. I can't remember the guy's name who did it, but he made a documentary about gentrification. His name is eluding me right now, and it's going to get on my nerve. But yeah, the documentary was amazing. But yeah, I definitely recommend everybody, if you can, definitely go to the Diamond Film Festival at the end of the semester. It's really good. You get to see everybody's works and their final projects.
And that takes place on campus?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. What building specifically?
It's typically in, I want to say Tomlinson.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but we'll definitely put the information out in the listserv closer to that time. But yeah, it's always on campus.
For
and
sure.
I do know that they're starting to upload like the actual entire compilation of people's works online as well.
Yeah. And I was going to say, with everything going on, it very well could be all
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know what it's going to look like this year, but but it's usually on campus.
Usually on campus.
I'm assuming it's going to stream or.
For sure.
Yeah. I think I might have just gotten an email about submit your work for the film festival, and I was like, oh, and I think they are doing it online, but
okay.
I think it'll still be really cool.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I don't see campus being at like full capacity by like April or March. So I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, got to do what we got to do, and it'll still be a lot of fun either way. So I definitely know that I would like to attend. Is it like a free thing that students can just go to? Do you have to reserve some sort of ticket?
I don't think you have to reserve tickets. I could be wrong though.
Okay, sweet.
But yeah, typically the department sends out the emails with like, hey, pretty much with the instructions for the thing. But yeah, it's free. But I don't know if you have to reserve a space. But I'm sure that all of that information will be included in the email.
Awesome. See, I love doing these episodes because I feel like I keep finding out more events that I actually haven't even like heard of, or I don't usually recognize. So like there was another episode that Sarah and I did, and I think it was with I think it might have been with Sachiko, and we were talking about the theater. They're going to have a show possibly streaming or something.
Completely online. Yeah, a lot of that.
And
which is like interesting.
Yeah, and I totally want to go to that too. Like there's so many things
I just watched
finding out.
They just did a production of Julius Caesar. They did it last night on Zoom, and I watched it. It was really good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, wow.
So they just keep rolling out content, and I'm like, this is so cool. I'm just so glad that they're like still creating these experiences for us and resume builders, like you said. Like it's hard, but like they're really trying their best to adapt for us, and it's been really good.
Yeah, I think just CPCA as a whole, because all of our programs are so hands-on, just the level of like adaptation that like each department has made, to keep students still engaged and to keep, their sword sharp, so to speak. It has been fantastic. So, but definitely making the best out of a worse situation.
For sure, yeah, and I think the theater program's doing a great job. I think Boyer, with how they're handling everything, they're doing a great job. FMA's doing a great job. I think everyone's come together to really make it an enjoyable experience overall, and to make it feel as normal as possible, which I personally love, because we are at times where it is not normal, and just got to run with it. But as an advisor, I know that you must get a lot of questions about certain classes, or maybe which classes to pick, or which classes would fit best for certain students. I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of them soon, now that we officially know that priority registration will be happening.
Right.
With that, and all the knowledge you know about all these classes now, are there any classes that you wish you could actually take at Temple, or maybe if you take yourself back to when you were a college student, that you would have been like, that's a class I'm going to take?
Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely, like I said, my major was English, so I wanted to be a writer. So I definitely can see myself taking the screenwriting course. That sounds really cool. Full disclosure, I have never done any kind of camera work, so I would have loved to have taken like a videography class or something like that. Something hands-on, definitely moving camera. Like all the students rave about that class. So yeah, it's a few that had I had the opportunity to take, I would have definitely done it.
I like that you say full disclosure that you've never really worked with a camera, and it's really funny because you're talking. And I don't know about you, Sarah, but you're at least talking to someone that never does anything with cameras either. And we happen to be working with, computer cameras right now, trying to film these episodes. So, I don't know. I guess there's always room to learn. And I appreciate you saying that you would definitely take some of those classes to get more information.
I always have like students come in and they're asking me like technical questions about lenses and stuff. I'm like, go to the professor for that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about at all.
Oh gosh, yeah.
They're like, oh, you didn't go to school for film? I'm like, no.
Oh my
gosh. I know. Well, like for all my theater friends, we've all had to like move to like self-taping auditions, and like I think that's like a method that they use for like TV acting. So like if you're auditioning for TV shows and stuff, a lot of times they have you self-tape. But like we are all like, oh, we're gonna do that in a couple of years when we graduate college and everything. But no, now we're all like, oh god, like I bought myself a tripod, and every time I film myself, it takes me like an hour just to like get the right angle for me to like be in the shot. And I'm like, I don't know how these film students do this. Like it is so hard.
But it's like, is self-taping easier? To me, it would be less nerve-wracking than like doing it in front of people, like actual casting directors. I've
worked on like 2 film projects so far at Temple where I was like an actor. And it was so much easier because they were just like, okay, all you have to do is like stand here and do your thing. And I'm like, okay, perfect. And then, but like when it's just me doing my own self-tape, I'm like, first of all, I have to like get all the acting stuff in my head and like figure all that out. But then I have to figure out the tech element too. And I'm like, this is not my strong suit. So I definitely find it easier when I have these awesome film students who know what the heck they're doing to help me out.
I also appreciate students that know how to work a camera, because I'm just so used to using an iPhone.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's what I'm going to use. That's my camera. It looks good, and I'm going to, hopefully run with it and make it look good. And then I've had other film students, or just people that are really into film, because I actually have a roommate that is, he's a film major, but not like filming major, but like studying film techniques, kind of. I don't know exactly what his major is, but it's with film, and he tells me all these different things, like, see that shot in this movie, they did this, this, and that, and I'm like, I have no idea what that means. You're talking to someone that works with audio. If you start talking to me about microphones, maybe I'll be like, yes, I get it, but no, it's crazy. One notable movie was, oh gosh, what movie did we just watch recently? Apocalypse Now. That was a movie that I don't know if either of you have ever seen that, but it was just like every 10 minutes or something, it would be like did you just see that shot that they just did? Here's how they did it. And I'm like, whoa. it's so foreign to me, but I appreciate it greatly. And honestly, it's something that I think would be very useful to know in any occasion. So, but yeah, for sure. That's really cool. When you're on campus, which I don't know how often you get to be on campus at this point, but when you're on campus, I'm sure you get hungry. Are there any go-to restaurants or go-to places to eat or go-to markets to get yourself a little snack real quick?
Yeah, so definitely the creperie. What is that place? Is it called the Lunchbox or something?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is it called the Lunchbox? I know it's something with box in it, but it's a food truck.
It's like, is it like Richie's Lunchbox or something?
Yes, Richie. Yes. That place is really good. And it's also it's like a Jamaican food truck that's right across from the student center. I like them too. Those are like my three go-tos. But I mean, I love like one of the 18 halal trucks that are on campus too. So
I was just about to
oh yes.
Because you said the Jamaican truck right across from the SAC, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure there's a halal truck right next to that truck.
It's like three of them right in a row. It's like really oversaturated, but I mean, it works.
It does work. It does. And I've been to all of them at this point, or like the ones right on campus, and I must say the one that's closer to Presser is the superior halal truck. And it's not even like the food is different necessarily. I just think I've gone there so many times. I just think the guy that serves the food, because it's the same guy, he's super nice.
Yeah.
He just gives an overabundance of food. Like he overfills it every time. So I'm always like, wow, now I have a meal for tonight and tomorrow night to help me save money.
I tell students all the time, like, Temple just has so many places to eat. So I get it. But like, I mean, if you want a cheap, good meal, definitely food trucks are the way to go.
For sure. And
I mean, and then too, like, you can't go wrong with Chick-fil-A. Like, that's just always, but the lines for Chick-fil-A are like insane all the time.
I was just about to say, yeah, you can go at a time where you can avoid the lines, you're golden.
Yeah, which is like never.
Oh my gosh, I know. The line for Chick-fil-A or like the line for like Salad Works, I'm always like, oh my God. So then I just settle for Which Wich. But I mean, Which Wich is great too. I love Which Wich.
Which Wich is awesome.
What is that?
Oh, it's like
you remember Which Wich?
Mm-hmm.
Which Wich is really, it's like Subway in a way, where you can kind of just build your own sandwich or get a pre-made sandwich. But I think they're really good. I had an addiction with Which Wich when I lived on campus.
This is a food truck?
No, this is actually in the SAC.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What
is it near?
It's right next to Twisted Taco, on the left of Twisted Taco.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's that last one on that little wall strip of a bunch of different little food mart restaurants, and it's awesome. I had quite the addiction where I was going to them like twice a week, and I have I joked around with one of the guys that worked there because he just started recognizing me every time I came up, or he literally called it the Ben Sandwich. Because I kept customizing the same thing, and I would walk up and he'd be like, "Is it the Ben Sandwich today?" And I'd be like, "You already know." And he's like, "All right, cool." And so he would make it for me. Yeah, Which is great. If you ever get the chance to go there, they make great sandwiches.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of great places on campus.
Yeah, it's tons. Like, I don't think I haven't even touched the surface of like, I tried to pick different things, but It's so much.
There's so much, yeah. It's really hard to try and hit everything.
Yeah.
Because there's always...
And then especially when you get like your favorite spots, you're like, oh, but I'm craving that. But I'm like, but I want to try something new. But I'm like, I'm really craving that crepe, so I gotta go.
The line for the creperie is usually insane too, but they move surprisingly fast though. So Richie's too, like the line is always, but they move really fast. So.
Do you have a specific go-to order when you go to the crepe truck or Richie's or really anywhere?
Yeah, I when I go to the creperie, I typically get the I don't even know what it's called, but it's just the fruit crepe. Like it's no.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's like
it's so good.
And bananas and like with the Nutella sauce, and that's typically what I get. Richie's, I typically like I'll either get chicken. I've gotten chicken fingers from there, and their burgers are good. So
I've never had a Richie's burger.
Yeah,
I've always wondered how they are. So I'm gonna have to try one sometime.
Yeah.
For sure.
And everything, like I said, is priced really well. So
yeah, it's really convenient to be right on campus, especially like when we were on campus and going class to class. They were just really easy to, if you were hungry, stop by real quick, grab something, and then you're off to class, and no time is taken away. And it just worked. It was really neat. I mean, I still try to get out and go to some of these places if they're around because it's just like, well, why not? You still got campus there if you can.
Are some of them still open?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I know a lot of the halal trucks are still there, which are my go-tos for sure. I know the crepe truck is usually open. I've seen it open a decent amount of times. Not every day though. I know Burger Tank is like never open. I don't think they usually open.
Is that the one right outside Presser?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like green or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Kind of looks like it's basically a food truck, but it kind of has the paint job of like an army truck. Kind of, almost like that metallic kind of look. So, yeah, they're pretty good too, but I don't think they're open as much anymore. So, understandably so. But, once everything starts to go back to normalcy, yeah, all the students that listen to this, go to the food trucks.
Yeah, please do yourself a favor.
Exactly. It's so worth it. Yeah, but let's take a little step away from Temple per se, and I want to know more about Philly because you originally come from California, which is on the complete opposite side of the country, and then all of a sudden you're here in Philadelphia. In the 2 years that you've specifically been at Temple, have there been anything, any like events or any experiences that you've had in Philadelphia that you'll never forget, or any things that you really like to do in Philadelphia? Anything where like you've explored Philly?
Yeah, so I mean, my family. So my mom is originally from here, but she's military, so that's why she was stationed out there. But yeah, my family's from here. So I mean, growing up, we used to go to like Odunde Festival, or we would always go to like Roots Picnic, which like I love. I love like huge music festivals. I think it's called the Italian Market, like where they have all of it's pretty much like all the food trucks, like in South Philly. So like anything with food sounds so greedy, but anything with food or like Reading Terminal, I love. Like I try every orientation. I tell students like go to Reading Terminal if you can. It's not that far, and you can like literally eat all day long. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Philly just has so much to do. Like, and I always tell students too, like the proximity, you can always hop on a megabus and go to New York, or hop on a megabus and go to DC, if you have a day off with friends or something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's really easy to get. That's funny that you bring that up. It's really easy. And I didn't realize that until last year, actually, when I had a friend of mine. He actually went to New York with a friend of his to go see a show on Broadway. And I remember asking him, how are you going to get there? And he's like, well, I'm going to take the bus. And I was like, well, isn't that going to take forever? And he's like, no, man, it's $20 for a ticket, or maybe $10. I don't even know. But he's like, yeah, and you just go straight to New York City, and it's easy. And I was like, wow, that's really convenient. So, yeah, it's really nice to have that proximity of different states that you can go to, because there's so many different landmarks that students can go visit if they'd like to. Then just being in Philly, there's so many different things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reading Terminal Market's really cool. I've only been there once, but the one time I went there, I was like, man, I got to go back.
Yeah.
Only once? Oh my goodness. I used to, I'm from the suburbs, so we used to go, every Christmas we'd go and see the lights and everything, and we'd get dinner at Reading Terminal. So I love that place.
Yeah, I love Reading Terminal. I haven't been since Corona though, but because it is a little tightly packed in there. But
oh yeah, it's very tight. My mom, I remember when we were little, my mom would be like, "Hold my hand, do not let go." You gotta weave in and out of everyone.
Yeah, I haven't been there since COVID, but I gotta wait for it to slow down a little bit before I go back.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, but you also mentioned the Italian market, which is something I actually haven't done in a very long time. It's something that my parents would take me as a kid to go to the actual Italian market to, you could buy fresh pasta from actual, Italian restaurants that, put them up in bulk. And then there's so many great restaurants that are around in the area. It is such a cool experience that I think it's super underrated with Temple students. I think not enough Temple students experience it. And I would say the same thing with Chinatown. I think Chinatown's really interesting to go to, and really cool if you want to check out a different culture, a different vibe, just something to get away from Temple necessarily, and you just want to go into the city. I think they're all great places to really go and, adventure outside of your box and really check different things out,
Absolutely.
But yeah,
I recommend that too. Yeah, especially if you're not from this area, definitely check those areas out.
Exactly, for sure. Yeah, and then there's always I don't know how many people know this, but there's the Dave and Buster's right by the
right by Festival Pier.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like no one knows about that. I went 3 times my freshman year, and I remember I asked a friend to go with me, and they were like, "There's a Dave and Buster's nearby." I was like, "Yeah, it's a quick train ride down."
I've never been in that Dave and Buster's, but I pass it all the time. But I would assume that would be a hot spot for students, though.
I don't think it is. At least with me and my friends, no one knows about it except for me. I don't know, Sarah. Does anyone know that with you and your friends?
I've never been, but I know a lot of my friends go.
That's good.
I know I'm pretty lame, but a lot of my friends go after the formals, they go there and have fun, and it seems like a good time. So I might have to try it out.
You definitely do. Sarah, right when you started with, I haven't ever been there, I was about to just be like, you made my point. Not enough people know about it or go.
I mean, I know a lot of people who do. I'm just I'm really lame, so.
That's fair. Yeah, well, you're not that lame. You got to go, though. Got to go to Dave & Buster's. It's a lot of fun. Really easy to just get lost in the games there. And just easy to watch the games that are happening on the big screen TVs around. I went for March Madness 2 years ago. Best time to go, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure it was madness in there.
Oh, it absolutely was. Every TV had a different game on. And I'm not the football kind of guy, or basketball, or I know I started with football, and that's not March Madness. I'm not trying to. I know that probably sounded like I knew nothing about sports. No. Let me rephrase that. So March Madness is basketball. I've never been to the person to be I'm going to sit down and just watch the game on my own and root for the Sixers or Eagles or Phillies. I'm usually not like that, but especially during March Madness and playoff seasons for any sports, going to Dave and Buster's, is a wild time. It is so fun to have just all the games there to watch. So if anyone's really into sports and follows like any of that kind of stuff, specifically like March Madness or Sunday football, anything like that, it's really exciting. It's a really exciting environment, and I personally recommend it.
I would say along that same vein too, Xfinity. I think you may have to be 21 again. Xfinity Live.
Xfinity Live, yeah.
Xfinity Live.
Oh, that place is cool.
Yeah, I don't know if are they still open now for COVID?
I don't know if they're still open, but I mean, I'm not 21 yet, and I've been in, but like, I think you have to like, you can't do much, but like, I think you can be there until like 8:00, and then they're like, you must leave, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I went there as I was 16 because I went to go see Metallica, and my brother that was 21 took me to Xfinity Live beforehand to go get dinner, and I remember being in there like, wow, this place is great. I was like, whoa.
I've only been in there like when I was an adult, so I didn't know if they let people under. That's good to know, though. Yeah,
that's definitely a fun place to go if you're looking to get a quick bite to eat before a sporting event that happens, because it's just literally right across the street from
everywhere.
The stadium.
Yeah.
It's so convenient.
And all the people that can't get into the games go there. So it's a very interesting place.
For sure.
Very exciting, but yeah.
Lots of excitement. It is it's pumped up to the max at Xfinity Live.
Yeah, especially when people have had one too many. It's just
the
Philly fans. We love those Philly fans.
Gotta love Philly fans. Never forget Eagles Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's like,
oh no.
Especially if, God forbid, if they're losing, it's like, all right, time to go, because it's not gonna be
nice. Definitely got to keep your head about yourself when you're at Xfinity Live, for sure. So you're from California because you said your mom was in the military and stationed out in San Diego. So did you live in Philly before, like, she was stationed in San Diego? Like, how long were you in San Diego? Were you young? Was it just in the middle, like maybe of your teen years or something like that?
Yeah, so I was born in San Diego. I stayed there till I was 4 or 5, and then we moved to Texas, and then we were there for like a few years. Then we moved to Virginia, and then we moved to New Jersey. I spent like the bulk of my like teenage years in New Jersey, and then we moved to Delaware. That's when I went to college, and then when I graduated, came to Philly. So been a lot, typical military brat story. You just move around all the time. So.
For sure. Yeah. But lots of different experiences I'm sure you've had in all these different places. I mean, you said you moved from San Diego to Texas right around when you were 4. So
yeah,
I guess you don't have too many memories, but were there any memories from San Diego when you were living there? Was a lot of it a blur?
Some like younger years was a blur, but like my godparents my godfather lives out there, so I'd still go see him.
Oh,
so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, San Diego. First of all, it's beautiful, but it's pretty honestly slow. It's a lot of military and a lot of like retirees. Like a lot of like grandmoms and grandpops who are, just enjoying the quiet life now. So
right. Yeah. And I guess a curiosity from a lot of students, whether it be film students or music students for that matter, often wonder what LA must have been like. So I'm curious, did you ever really get to go to LA whenever you go out to San Diego? And if so, is it as crazy as people say it is?
So yeah, to answer the first question, yeah, I've been to LA many times. I wouldn't say it's crazy. I think it's much like even like Philly or New York. Like there's something for everybody. There's whatever you're interested in, you can find it in LA, and that's for the good and bad. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely for film students, I think, the LA Study Away program, I plug that so much because I really think that's a fantastic opportunity for anybody who doesn't know. In the FMA department, well, even theater too, they can do it now. But you can spend a semester in LA taking coursework and, gaining internship experience. And a lot of our students actually, end up or have aspirations of moving to LA. And I definitely tell them like, hey, if you're going to do it, or if you're thinking about moving to LA, definitely do the program first, just because LA is like ridiculously expensive.
For sure.
Everything in LA is insane. So I understand like being young and like taking life by the horns, but I meet so many students that's just like, oh, I'm going to move there. And I'm like, think about that first. Cause you don't, you don't want to be the homeless kid under the bridge because you didn't plan appropriately. So
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, LA, from music to film, entertainment, tech is big. I mean, anything you're interested in, you can find it in LA.
For sure. I've actually been fortunate enough to get in touch with some people with the Study Away program for Los Angeles, because they started to offer that to a handful of music tech students.
Okay, cool.
Because I know a lot of music tech students like to get their hands on some of the film aspects of entertainment industry, specifically film editing and film mastering and all that, because as a music tech student, I've looked around for jobs and internships, and I know that a lot of jobs specifically for like audio design or audio editing like to see a background in film to an extent, at least with editing, at least to know like certain proper tools, or at least know certain techniques on how to film and how that'll work in post and stuff like that. So I think the Study Away program is really good for honestly anyone that is really interested in having some sort of film background. For FMA, it's right up their alley. That's like what you want to do. That's like the ultimate goal, I feel like, is like if you can go out to LA and get an internship or an internship like job or anything like that, it's like, go for it. It's so cool.
And even, not just for the internship, but just the networking in general. You never know who you'll meet. You never know, that hand you may shake may be, offering you a job in a few months. So, I definitely highly encourage anybody in any major, I mean, I know like Klein and other places have a sort of like correlative program. So yeah, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, it is super neat. Definitely something that I really would like to do. And I'm really hoping that next year, pulls through and everyone and everything starts to calm down just a bit to where we can make that possible again.
Yeah,
for sure. So we have done our little bit of research about you, Dariq, and we've learned that your favorite college experience was homecoming.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little more about that?
Homecoming, this is going to sound like so old, and I'm not super old, but like the older you get, more people move away and, families and stuff like that. So homecoming is like the one time per year I know I'm going to see everybody, and I probably won't see them again until next homecoming. So it's just, it makes it, it makes it all more memorable. So.
How would you compare it to Temple's homecoming with your experiences at University of Delaware's homecoming?
I've never been to Temple's homecoming, so I need to do that, but I've never been to Temple's homecoming. So
I haven't been either. So
all right, so that makes three of us, because I haven't either.
Sarah, you have no excuse at all.
Oh my!
I know. I always get the emails, and I think they have they usually have like tents, I think, for like each college. I know. I don't even know where they do it. They might do it at the football field, but maybe not. But I know they get. I always get emails during that time, and they're like, "Do you want to come out and be part of the tent? You can talk to like new students and everything." And I'm like, "Oh yeah," and then I just like never follow through. So, but I'm sure it's great, and I've heard great things about it. And my professors who participated in it say it's fun. So
Yeah,
definitely got to check it out.
that's like I said, I love going back and just seeing like you said, old professors, old classmates. I love it. Homecoming is like my favorite time of the year.
It's always been a really fun time. Honestly, there's always something to do during homecoming, for sure.
Too much to do.
Yeah, exactly. But it's always a good time to regroup with the people you love, and it truly is a special time for a lot of people.
Totally.
So,
is family week is that part of homecoming? Like family weekend or whatever? Is that part of homecoming, or is that just like its own separate thing?
I personally know some schools are that like they have them happening at the same time, but I don't know, Dariq, was that the case for you?
So we have. So what is family weekend? Is that where people just bring their family?
I don't know. I remember my freshman year. It was like some random weekend. My mom texted me. She was like, "We're coming to see you." And I'm like, "What? You are?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's family weekend. We're coming to see you. So we're coming to your dorm. It better be clean." And I was like, "Oh God." Had to prepare for that. And then I was like, "Wait, is it homecoming maybe?" I don't know. I should have paid more attention to my emails.
So I know UD, we have something called Alumni Weekend, which is different than like homecoming, but yeah, they're not like around the same time. Like Alumni Weekend is usually like right before school kicks off. So it's like probably mid-July, something like that. But yeah, no, I've never had any. Thank God I didn't have anything like that.
The closest I can get to answering your question, Sarah, is I come from one of 5 brothers. Well, yeah, I have 4 brothers, so one of 5 boys.
Yeah.
And I know when my one brother, his homecoming weekend lined up with family weekend. So all week he had events for homecoming, but family would come down the weekend for like the football game, tailgating, stuff like that. So I know some schools try and line it up as close as possible, but
it would make sense.
Yeah, it'd be an easy way to, get everyone together at once. So, but yeah, so I don't know. I think it's different for schools, but maybe. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. But
I know. I was like, we should probably drop some info in the like comment section of the post. Just be like, here, and just in case you want to know, because we don't.
For sure, exactly. So when we introduced you, Dariq, we said that you are a YouTube connoisseur. Mm-hmm. So I've got to know, what channels are your go-to channels? Are there a specific type of videos that you always watch on YouTube? I want to know a little bit more about that,
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to sound like super corny, but I am a huge anime fan. So I get into like all the Dragon Ball Z conspiracy theories about like what happened after this ended. I watch a lot of sport highlights too. This is bad. I watch like a lot of old reality TV clips, like
yes,
like
oh my gosh,
I Love New York and like America's Next Top Model, like when Tyra's like I'm just anything stupid that makes me laugh. Like I'll watch it.
It's the best. It really is the best.
YouTube consumes so much of my day. I'm ashamed to say it, but it does.
Don't be
happy. So
I was gonna say, as long as it keeps you happy and keeps you smiling, that's all that matters. Plus, I'm there with you. I'm on YouTube way too much.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like sometimes I'll get the notifications of like certain channels or whatever, and then like I'll watch one, and then before you know it, the suggestions keep going, and it's like 3 hours later, and I'm like, how did I get here?
Falling down the rabbit hole.
Those suggestions, they're so enticing. I'm like, I have to watch this video.
I'm like, how do they know me? Like, you know exactly what I want to watch.
It's crazy. But yeah, the rabbit hole is dangerous, especially when, you know, you got clickbait titles and like it's enticing. It really is very tempting. It really is an addiction to an extent for at least me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but man, it gets dangerous sometimes when you're just on for hours on end.
Yeah, it's been like time. Yeah, I've watched YouTube, like, especially on like a Saturday, if you don't have anything to do, yeah, like 4 hours can go by, and I'm like, I just wasted my entire day.
Easily.
Like, my mother would not be pleased right now.
I've been super into the there is a channel on YouTube right now that is like a it's like a psychology based channel where they actually take like interrogation films, and they'll do certain crime events where they have the suspect being interrogated, and they actually document all of his movements, all of his gestures, the way he says things, and they break down the psychology of what's going on with the suspect at that current moment. And those videos are like upwards to like 2 hours long. And there was one night where I watched like 5 of them in a row. I literally went from like 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. and I was like, wow, all right, I'm going to bed. It really is dangerous to an extent, but man, I love it.
Yeah, that late night YouTube, that is the danger zone. Like, if I start going on there like 10, I'm like, oh my God, wait, did I turn the light back on? Oh God, no, it's the sun. Like,
that's when you know it's dangerous. You're just like, oh my gosh. Oh man. So while everyone's cooped up in quarantine, I'm sure you've picked up some habits or maybe a new hobby of some sort. Is there a specific activity that you like to do during quarantine to keep yourself occupied?
Yeah, I've been reading a lot. I've been trying to do like at least one book a week. I haven't done that in like 2 or 3 weeks, but yeah, I've been definitely reading a lot to
That's
kind of
awesome.
like offset YouTube.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. What kind of books are you reading?
So I just finished 48 Laws of Power. Trying to think. Yeah, that was the last book, and then I'm currently still trying to finish this. I just bought this. So for those who don't know, I am Oprah's biggest fan. So I got the Wisdom Sundays. I'm still finishing it, but that'll be what I finish hopefully by the end of this week. So yeah, just anything that sounds good. Any recommendations too? I'm huge on book recommendations. So
for sure, that's awesome. When you say you're like Oprah's biggest fan, are you like Josh Nichols status? Or actually, I don't even know if you'll know what I mean by that.
Oh yeah, I don't even know who that is. Who is that?
There's a TV show called Drake and Josh that was on like early 2000s. That one of the main characters in the show was, the one trait about him was he was obsessed with Oprah, or he loved Oprah. And
how can you not be obsessed with Oprah?
That's so true.
He gives out cars. Like,
it's so
oh my
true.
gosh, that is my favorite. We say that. I work at Starbucks, and we say that all the time. We're like, you get a cup, you get a cup, you get a cup. We just change it to cup.
Like, that's literally something I would YouTube. I would just randomly like YouTube Oprah giving away cars. I find that clip so funny. It's weird, but
it's so good. It's so entertaining. It is so entertaining. I know. But yeah,
she's so great.
She's amazing.
My mom actually has I don't have it here, but she has like the box set of like however many seasons of the Oprah Winfrey show.
25 seasons.
She has like She has like at least 2 or 3 box sets. So I don't know how many, but she's got a bunch. So it's like on some shelf. So whenever I walk by it, I'm like, hey, Oprah. Like, so we love her too.
But that's crazy. You said 25 seasons. Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She's been known like longer than most college students have been alive.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
why wow. I just remember Oprah being like a huge part of my childhood in terms of like she was always on TV where like if there was nothing else to watch, you clicked on her show. You know, and I just remember that being a huge part of television, especially in the early 2000s. So it was like, wow, to hear the number 25 and the word seasons next to it is mind-blowing. Whoa. Okay. That really puts in perspective how much time has gone by. Jeez.
I know, yeah. Getting old.
It's a weird realization for sure. So being an FMA advisor, to go back to, you know, dealing with students, I'm sure a lot of them, besides having questions about certain film classes or about different lenses, because, you know, God forbid you get too many of those, because those can be overwhelming sometimes. But I'm sure other times, you know, depending on the student, maybe they want to know a little bit more about, you know, personal taste when it comes to film. So that's why we are going to ask, what is your all-time favorite movie?
That's hard. All-time favorite, like
you can pick a couple if it makes it easier.
Because I have like certain genres. So I don't know if y'all have seen. I love The Goonies. Like I can recite The Goonies.
Oh yes.
But then I also have like The Shining is another one. I actually just I would just watch that like Friday. The Goonies, Shining. It's a movie called, I don't know if y'all have seen it. It's like early 90s. Higher Learning is one of my faves. Boys in the Hood is another one of my faves. Yeah, those are like, I'm trying to think. Those are like my go-tos.
It's really neat because you just named all these movies that are like completely different genres.
Yeah, that's why I said it's hard to like if I want to laugh, I'll watch The Goonies, right? Like
for sure.
If I want to be weirded out, I'll watch The Shining. It's just different moods that I'm in.
For sure,
totally. Yeah. I know. Well, when Ben asked it, I was like, wait, you know what? I don't think I could answer that question either. Like I have like my like go-to handful. I'm like, if I want to cry, I'll watch this movie. If I want to like have a good time, I'll watch this movie, you know? So, but those are all really good. I love The Goonies.
I haven't.
So good.
That's classic. Like classic.
I don't think I've seen.
I remember being
while. No, like I've seen.
I remember. I was like, never. I'm like, pause the video. We're watching it right now.
We'll resume the interview after the movie.
Oh my gosh, I remember like watching it with my older cousin when I was little, and then we would like dress up and run around and pretend we were like searching for the treasure. So fun.
I'm glad to see that, like, the younger generation, because, you know, that movie came out in 1987. So, yeah. Like 85 or 87, something like that. So I'm glad to see, like, it's still making its rounds.
Yeah, it's definitely still relevant, at least among, you know, the kids I know that are my age, or even a little younger by a couple years. I know it's still definitely relevant. I just remember it being one of those movies when I was a kid where whenever someone was like, have you ever seen it? I said, no, they said you have to watch it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Like,
yeah, it's just one of those movies that I think everyone has to watch. It really is at some point or another.
And there's just so many like stars in that movie. Like they were all kids, but they all grew up to be like such mega stars. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I've always grown up on the Star Wars movies. Every time I've had anyone ask me my favorite movies, I'm always like Star Wars episodes 1 through 6. Like,
so I've never seen. I need to I was watching one Star Wars movie. I just remember it being really long, and I was like, "This."
Oh, they're long. They're like 2.5 hours.
I was like, "I can't."
No. It depends which one. Which one were you watching?
I don't
Do you
even
remember?
I just remember like I was just looking at my watch, like, "Oh, this is still going on." I didn't even finish it. Like, yeah.
Oh my god.
It definitely depends on the which movie it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of the prequels. I'm sitting there. I'm like, if Jar Jar Binks speaks one more time, I'm gonna turn it off.
I'm turning the movie off. Oh man.
Like,
there are definitely some that are slower.
Yeah, it was very like, even Titanic. It like, because I remember having the same kind of like thought process. I was like, oh my god, we've been here for 3 hours and the movie's not done yet. Like,
Titanic.
But I love Titanic.
Titanic was one of those movies where when I first saw it, I forgot what the Titanic was while I was watching the movie. So like when I thought we got to like a point of the movie where I was like, oh, this is the ending. And then all of a sudden the ship hits an iceberg. And I was like, oh, I forgot that was an actual event. And I was like, oh.
Oh my god. So, I know, but it is like, that is an all-day event. Like, especially if it's like on TV with like the commercial breaks and everything. It's like a 5-hour block or something. I'm like, oh my god.
yeah.
You have to dedicate time to watch Titanic. I mean, most movies you have to dedicate time, but most movies you're able to just be like, oh, let's throw on a movie right now. But there's some where you're like, we are watching it this night from this time frame. Be there.
I would definitely just like DVR it and then like watch it later and just edit out or just cut out or fast forward through
the highlights.
For
like,
sure.
Yeah,
it's just the easiest way to do it.
Like the I'm flying Jack and then the sinking. That's all I need.
That's it. Pretty much, you got it.
So now that we're on the Titanic thing, and I'm going to hurry this up because I know we've been talking for a while and the conversations are flowing and I love it, but I got to know now that we're talking about Titanic, did Kate have enough room for Jack on the
She did.
She did. Okay.
She did. Absolutely did. I was like, Kate, you know better, girl. Like, you could have, I mean, she could have moved over. I saw someone, and I love the internet for this reason. I saw someone take a screen capture of a scene where the camera was pointing up as if you were looking down at her while she was laying in the ocean on, what was it? It was like a door? Or what? Yeah, it was a door.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a door.
And they took a screen capture and they would diagram, if you move over this amount, you can fit a whole body right here.
And it was just like, but you know what? I blame them both. Kate should have offered, but if I was Jack, I would have been like, so can you move over? Like, that was the one thing I did.
They were too in the moment. They were too in love. They couldn't think about anything else.
It ain't that much love. I need to live. I need to survive. So I need you to move on. Please and thanks.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that, because it was just one of those things. Every time I watch that movie, I'm like, there's room. There is room. You just got to climb up and be like, can you move, please?
That is funny. I've never been asked that question. But yes, that's something I've often thought about. Like,
For sure.
Like, girl, you know better.
Nevertheless, great movie. Gotta love it. So I know we talked about student films and if you had ever seen one, but have you ever been a part of one? Has any students come up to you to be like, hey, would you like to be a part of my student film?
No, thank God.
I was gonna say, I mean, I know a couple people. They're always like roles for like, oh, we need like someone older because they're like, you don't look older, Sarah. And I'm like, I know, I look 12. I'm sorry, but they're always looking for like older people. So not that you're old, but like.
No, that is interesting. They have not asked me to be in a film.
Well,
Thank God.
there you
No, people, please don't.
I was
just
gonna
about to say.
now you gotta ask. Now you
I
gotta
was just
ask.
about to say, all you FMA majors that are making student films, he's up for hire.
Right.
Oh, man. Okay, with that said, I think it's time that we do our little game. So
Ooh.
let me explain this a little further. So the game is this or that. So it's basically a condensed version of everything we just did, where instead of asking you one question to elaborate on, we're gonna make you choose between two things, and you have to pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds easy at first, but some of these are on the tougher side. We've had people that think, oh, like this will be easy. I just gotta pick a side or like pick one thing over the other, and then they hear one, they're just like, oh wait, hold on. So some of them are a little tough, and the thing that makes it tougher is we're only giving you 60 seconds to answer all of them. So if I'm correct, we have 12 or 11 to go through. So let me get a timer up. I'm going to keep time while Sarah is going to actually give you the questions.
Okay.
All right. All right. So here we go. I have 1 minute up. When the timer ends, By the Seaside will start playing. Which, if you don't know, By the Seaside is one of the default ringtone things in the iPhone.
I never knew the name.
Love it. It's great. All right. So, Sarah, you ready?
Oh yeah.
All right. Dariq, you ready?
Ready.
All right. Here we go. So 3, 2, go.
Wawa or 7-Eleven?
Wawa.
Book or film?
Book.
Zaxby's or Richie's?
Richie's.
Netflix or Hulu?
Hulu.
Maxie's or Philly Style?
Oh, Maxie's.
Cherry or white?
Cherry.
Center City or Fishtown?
Center City.
The Sack or food trucks?
Food truck.
Savory or sweet?
Sweet.
Charles or Paley?
Charles. Yeah.
5 seconds.
East or West Coast?
East Coast.
Boyer or TFMA?
TFMA, of course.
Whoa!
And we got through all of them.
We got through all of them right when the timer went off. Whoa!
It was so funny.
TFMA.
When you said Charles or Paley, I was like, aren't they the same person? And then I had to think about it. That was funny.
That's the best thing I've ever heard. They are the same person. They're the live. That's so funny. Oh my god.
Oh man.
I was like, is this a trick question? But yeah.
He was about to stop the game and be like, hold on. You can't trick me like that.
I was like, wait, what? Okay.
Man, you just went, for that last one, you just went right for TFMA.
You know what?
He knows.
It's all CPCA love, but, you know.
Gotta represent what you're advising, and I love it. I love it. All right. Well, Dariq, thank you so much for being on. We really do appreciate it, and I'm really glad that I got to know you a little more because, like I said earlier, I really haven't gotten to know you that much besides seeing you at orientation. And I think this was a great way to get to know you, and I'm really happy now we know each other a little more.
Yeah, this was awesome. I had a blast. Thank you both.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you to everyone that is watching right now and keeping up with the podcast. If you would like to keep up to date with everything going on with the CPCA podcast, Backstage Pass, you can follow the CPCA Advising actual social media page. I know specifically run on Instagram. I think we have a Twitter. I actually just found that out recently. So, and I think it's the same tag. So if you want to find us on social media, it's at CPCA_advising. You can find anything that has to do with the podcast on social media. With that said, stay tuned for upcoming episodes where we have more guests and we interview more of the advising staff and peer advisors. It's going to be great. Dariq, thank you so much once again.
Thank you both. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. And Sarah, once again, I always like to thank you at the end because seriously, you are the backbone to this podcast. If it weren't for you, this podcast probably would not be a thing. So thank you once again.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Dariq. This was so much fun.
It was.
And till next time, have a lovely day. Enjoy your week. Push through your exams or tests or whatever you got. Get your homework done. Stay on top of things. Have a good night, everyone. We will see you in the next episode.